What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Invest in a Moment with MYTHEO. Today, we have a very, very special episode with some interesting topics that we'll talk about. Have you ever wondered how Sharia investing is evolving so fast, from local funds to global tech giants and even AI now? In this episode, we also try to break down the common misconception that Sharia investing isn't just for Muslims, but is for general everybody as well to diversify their investments or explore other alternatives. With me today are two very special guests, one of who you may know already, and they are, I'll let them introduce themselves, Amir and Saida. Amir, why don't you give us a few words? Welcome back.
Okay, it's nice to hear from you again. Thank you, Witty. So it's good to be back again, and I want to share a new type of discussion all about Sharia, something very new from Matthew.
Saida?
Thanks, MYTHEO, for inviting me. I'm very excited to this session.
So, if you haven't noticed already, we're in a different sort of setting today in a more living room, cozy environment because there are deep topics that we'll talk about today. But before we get into the heavy and gritty sort of topics, Amir, welcome back. I just want to say thank you so much for coming back again and sharing knowledge. Today's topic is about Sharia investing. So, what do you feel? Can you give us a short summary of Sharia investing just to let our listeners sort of ease into it a little bit?
Okay, basically, investing is just like investing. The only difference between investing and Sharia investing, basically, when you invest in Sharia investing, you only invest in Sharia-compliant stock. This is a stock or investment that actually invest that's exclude non-Sharia component like riba, alcohol, everything, entertainment. So everything else is the same lah. But one of the biggest difference, you can see that there's a lot more, your universe is slightly smaller lah. Basically, one of the big sector that you have to exclude basically the banks, right? So investing in Sharia, basically you invest in a non, what you call non, and do not invest in non-Sharia sector, and then you have another big sector, for example, technology and healthcare.
Okay, little summary there. So, Saida, it's your first time on this podcast. Before we get into your expertise and knowledge, I want to throw some icebreaker questions to you. Do you remember what your first investment was? The first investment you ever made, what was it?
Okay. After I graduated, I thought saving in ASB was my investment. And then actually when I came into the finance world, for example, I started with my career with the Equities Commission. Then I get to know that ASB is part of unit trust. I didn't know about the unit trust. So ASB actually is a force for Bumiputera. Simple to introduce you about the finance or investing world. So I think that is my good experience when I want to suggest to my other colleagues or young graduates audience. Start with ASB if you are Bumiputera.
So I guess that turned out pretty well for you. Okay, so next one, I guess saying that now that when you first invested in your ASB and those stocks, right? So with all your experience so far, what is one money habit or investing habit that really you think is the best, in your opinion?
I'm very proud to say that my discipline investing at that time, I used to save in ASB financing. So what people only know around that time that because of bank promoted it. Then I'm very proud that I learned about discipline. And then how I accumulate about 40K to use as a down payment to start a marriage life.
Wow. Nice. Okay. Amir, how about you?
When I first start investing, actually I started, I think, quite young. I actually started by investing in Malaysia stock. I think I was about 18 years old. So I just playing around only. So I remember that I actually buying a iron ductile company, Iron ductile company. I bought four lot at 1 ringgit 20 cents. You know how I start buying. Actually, I opened account in Prime Tajam. So there's one guy from company. Say, oh, this company actually every year paying a lot of bonuses. A lot of bonuses. Say it's a listed company. It's called Wiley. Actually produce iron ductile. At the time, there's a lot of hype about Malaysia are replacing asbestos pipe with iron ductile that lasted longer, right? So I buy 4 lot at 120 something. So then I just keep it. I start working, keep it. Suddenly, few years later, it become 4 ringgit, and the stock split become from 4 unit become 8 unit, from 6,000 become 32,000 in 3-4 years. This is my first investment. Is the most luckiest one, basically.
Okay. One more question for both of you. I think I'm interested to see what you guys think. So, Sana, I'll start with you. Do you save first or spend smartly?
So if in this field now we always suggest save first. If personally, I used to save first when I post myself in ASB financing. So I think those shape me how I view on personal finance today. To be disciplined.
Okay, so it really disciplined. I like that. Amir, how about you?
Okay, same for me, right? Like, from Putra, we have ASB. I do the same, like Saidah did, right? So I took up maximum 200,000 loan for SB. So I had to pay monthly installment. It's just like a forced save to me. So when it's expired, I just have 200,000 plus dividend I receive. So by taking loan, right, invest in ASB, it's just obligation for you to pay monthly installment. So it automatically force you to save. You mean for that point of view, I basically save first before spending. Right?
Okay, so the key takeaway for all our listeners out there: save first, be disciplined. So as we move into our first topic, which is Shariah investing as a whole, right? Amir, you gave a brief introduction of what it was. Maybe Saida, you can explain. How would you explain what Shariah investing is to someone who maybe has never heard about this before?
Good question. Okay, so in conventional way of making money, so we used to hear, okay, I want to, how many returns I can get. Okay, in other words, Sharia is more for you to become socially responsible, especially for the society, for your family, for yourself.
Having said that, as a wealth advisor, and then Amir can maybe can chime in as well. When clients come to you and say, "Hey, tell me about Shariah investing. What can I expect, or how can I make sure that the portfolio I'm investing is truly Sharia compliant?"
Basically, when you invest in Shariah investing, when you invest in Malaysia, it's very simple lah. Because in Malaysia, they already declared what is Sharia fund, what is non-Sharia compliant fund. In fact, if you invest in Malaysian stock, basically, we already have 850 Malaysian stock actually listed by SC. I think what you call a security advisory committee of Securities Commission. They come out a list every, I think, twice a year. I think in May and November, so that you have all the list, the stock. But you want to invest regionally, it's slightly more complicated lah. Because you can see that the list only applicable for Malaysian stock. So you want to invest, you have to find it yourself. For professional investor like us, like institution, we tend to subscribe to the benchmark. We have some provider, data provider like MCI, FTSE, S&P actually provided the list of Sharia stock, but that list doesn't screen entire universe. No, they don't screen entire stock in Philippines, entire stock in Singapore or Hong Kong. But basically that list in Malaysian market is slightly different. Basically, I see screen all the list and identify all the Sharia stock. For example, I invest, last time I remember I do invest in ASEAN market, right? So when you invest in ASEAN market, there's 5 major market. Apart from Malaysia, you do invest in Indonesia, Thailand, then Vietnam also, Philippines, right? So when you subscribe to that index from provider, you only have the list of 170 stock. And you invest in Malaysia alone, you have 850. So your universe actually more return, like you have to find stock that you think Sharia compliant. So you feel, then you go to see Sharia advisor, say, this stock Sharia compliant, can I get approval that this stock Sharia compliant from our Sharia advisor? The one in nation ecosystem, right? In order for you to define what is Sharia investment, basically the institution always have Sharia advisor. Sharia advisor will certify, like we have halal certificate for restaurant or food. We also have certificate Sharia compliant from our Sharia advisor. So every institution in Malaysia that do fundamental investment had to have Sharia advisory.
Okay. And so how do you think client expectations change from this? As I mean, mentioned, if your sort of selection shrinks globally and locally, when your clients come to you when they ask for advice as a wealth advisor, hey, what is the difference when you're talking about local versus global sort of Sharia portfolios?
Yes, and I notice most of my clients, especially younger ones, they are more exposed to research and then everything on their fingertips. Then while they are reading, they already mention, hey, I want global exposure. Then simply they just, I want ETF. Okay, then those are the things I take note. However, it's a financial planner. So in the financial planning process, we first identify before you want to invest. Yes, you can be like very optimistic. Okay, global look good, but we need to know how much your cash reserve level, what's your priority, your next 3 years life goals. Because of so many people want to invest, but they don't understand their situation first, whether good for them to put in the long term, or whether what are the priorities they should be mindful first. Then in terms of asking whether global or local, Those are the number two. Number first is understanding your situation and why you are why you want to invest, for what purpose. Those I'm always asking about the clarity first.
Okay, cool. And Amir, before we move on, I have one quick question, and this leads on to our topic later as well,
Okay.
right? With MyTheo now looking at Sharia investing, how do you see the difference in demographic with your investors right now? As Saida mentioned, the younger sort of sector more interested in going global versus an older demographic who only sticks to local. Or maybe you can share your thoughts.
Okay, but then over since 2013, I've been around in this industry for quite some time. I see since 2013, 2014, I see a lot of demand for regional and global. Basically, you see that Malaysian, if you look in the context of performance, right? When you invest in Malaysian market, you can see that over the past 8 years is not done very well. They've been going down. And 2011 is the start where European market really. That's why in 2013, 2014, you see quite a number of fund manager actually more specialized in looking into European Japanese stock. The market done well and the demand for that market actually increasing. People become more savvy, and to be honest, apart from that, there's a lot of platforms also that offering access to global market. I remember when I first time invest in global market, in national market, when I first start, I say I buy that Wiley. You go to stockbroking company, the stockbroker company only offer to invest in Malaysian market, right? Now you go to all houses, right? Most of houses, even stockbroking company, they can have access to at least Malaysian, Singapore, US, and Hong Kong. Certain houses even Thailand, Indonesia, that kind of thing. So you can see it's not because the demand is rising, in access also improving. So we can see a lot more people actually more savvy and willing to invest, expand beyond Malaysia market, especially the younger one.
Market evolving. As Sada said, they already know, right? They don't even need to come to
Yeah.
us. They already know what they want to evolve. They want to invest in. Just like you said, I want A, B, C, right? I don't need your advice. Yeah. Okay, cool. As we move on to our second topic, we've sort of broken down what Sharia investing means, what are the differences for different generations, and how people look at different Sharia portfolios. Now, as we get into the more technical details, I want to talk about Sharia methodology. I'll kick off by pointing this to Amir first. So Amir, MYTHEO recently wrote that NVIDIA is both Sharia compliant and non-compliant, depending on the methodology. What does that mean? Can you share? Because I'm confused. Tell me about it.
Okay, basically, if you see Sharia, many people say, oh, I Sharia invested, I invest in stock that not investing in what you call non-Sharia business, right? Basically, like alcohol, banking, commercial banking. But that's only the first stage of Sharia compliance. It's the first stage of the screening. There's a second stage of screening. People look at the cash level, debt level, or account receivable level of the company. How much debt they have, how much cash they have, and that cash cannot exceed certain threshold limit. That's how actually Sharia methodology different. Certain methodology actually use total asset. Another methodology use market cap. I don't know whether you know market cap is simply share price times by number of shares. Okay, let me give you an example, right? Assuming BT as a cafe. You have two cafe. One cafe he actually rent. Another cafe he actually bought. When you rent, you don't need to pay anything, right? And the cafe is not part of your balance sheet. And when you bought, I assume the cafe cost you 500,000, it will put you into balance sheet of 500,000 ringgit. You do the exactly same business, you may have cash 100,000, assuming. So 100,000, then you have equipment 100,000. So for total asset 100,000 cash divide, if you use total asset 100,000 divided by 100, it seems like 100%. The threshold is only 30%. It's considered non-Sharia compliant. But the other cafe also have 100,000 cash, but you have asset 600,000, the value of the cafe, because you bought it, and you actually add up the cash 100,000 over 600,000 is only 16%. It consider Sharia compliant, right? Exactly the same business, same owner, have the same balance sheet, is totally purely because of the methodology.
Okay.
Or certain house decided to use different methodology and other house use different methodology. If you look at Malaysian stock basically we use SSC, AC, right? So SSC use total asset. Basically it means all calculation is based on the number of asset that they have in balance sheet. That's why make it different. In the case of NVIDIA, NVIDIA is a big company, but NVIDIA basically, even though people say they produce chip, they never really produce chip, they only design. When design chip, they design, they ask somebody else to produce for them. Basically that company, if you're familiar with this industry is Taiwan semiconductor industry, so they don't need any manufacturing plant lah. So basically they accept only engineer. So even though they have cash, they don't have asset. So if you use total asset, it doesn't make sense lah. So because the asset, there's no asset. Similarly, like business like digital marketing, you understand, you don't need a lot of asset, right? So
This
like
is not financial
MYTHEO,
advice.
MYTHEO also, we don't need a lot of asset. Unless you do plantation, you need huge land. That actually cause a lot of differences to choose between Syariah screening, and that's why Nvidia become non-Sharia compliant based on total asset, but based on market cap, because it's 4 trillion market cap and their total assets only 100 billion plus. So because the denominator is different, so their Sharia screening actually result in different what I call result. One is Sharia compliant, one is non-Sharia compliant.
Interesting. So for our listeners out there, don't take this as financial advice. This is just an example in case. So Zaida, given Amir's example, when it says these two different methodologies, but when clients come to you, in your experience anyway, how surface level are they versus how detailed do they want to get? Do they really care about the methodology, or they seeing it from a surface level, being like, okay, Sharia compliant, I'm okay? Or are there maybe clients who say, hey, I want you to deep dive, give me more details about this, like how Sharia compliant, what's the screening process, what is involved in what are business assets and things like that. You know, it could be market cap, could be whatever that may be, right? So how do you think in your experience or in your sort of recommendation or advice when clients ask you that, what would you say, or how would you describe this to them?
From my experience, there are Muslim clients also prefer conventional. Okay, how I do, which they know about the Sharia compliant products. Okay, because of I think because of the confidence level, how I approach this kind of clients. So as a professional, we don't have any judgment. For example, they want conventional, then I will take it. However, during the process of financial planning, because financial planning is a journey, then along the way, because this is kind of client, the type of younger ones. Along the journey, throughout the years, this slowly, I personally will understand them in terms of their life philosophy, how they look at life, how they want to purify their wealth. Then slowly, we educate them towards the Sharia perspective. So as a in terms of experience, it's a kind of exciting to guide clients to know how Sharia investing is about. Because of sometimes when we mention, okay, you just send them the articles, you just send them the, like for example, scholars. Somehow they know, but they don't understand deeper unless they experience it throughout the years, throughout the investing life experience. Then they slowly understand what they are doing. I think fortunately it's better for that, because of actually as a human we also experience when we are baby, we experience we knock the hard floor first, the difficult situation first, before understand what's the personality we want to become, or what's who we are. So I think that's my approach to someone who, either for example Muslim or non-Muslim. Slowly we educate them, because of sending those articles, they also can read by themselves. But how we want to let them understand who they are, what they want to become. That, I think that's the beautiful part.
Okay. I mean, having said that, does this, as from MYTHEO as a platform, as a product, does that make Sharia fund management more complex?
Yes, the answer is definitely yes. Okay, basically you look at, I don't know whether investor, how do you know that what is stock is Sharia compliant or not? Basically you need to review the prospectus, you need to read clearly the prospectus lah. So in terms of fund management process, right? Basically if you invest in Malaysian market, it's actually quite straightforward lah. Basically because we already have the list by SC. SC had done a lot of job. Maybe all the hard work have been taken by SC by providing the list. But when you move outside Malaysia, it's totally different ballgame. So basically, there's quite a number of Sharia provider. Basically, quite a number of Sharia provider. MCI is one of them. SMP, FUSI, and Dow Jones. And over time, it quite changing. Okay, let me give you the challenges that I'm facing during my time at managing Sharia fund. When I first managing Sharia fund is when I first joined an European company when they first set up office in Malaysia, way in 2008. One time it was during financial crisis. My first client was Middle Eastern client. Second client was Bruneian client. So the middle is the client we use one Shariah screening methodology by Dow Jones. That time Dow Jones used market cap and it's 12-month market cap now. Because market cap is very high, it was financial crisis. So every share price in the market at that time was tanking. So most of our stock inside our portfolio become non-Sharia compliant because the share price actually dropped. Because 2008, right? 2008 we have one of the biggest market correction in history of US, right? So you know that Dow Jones was 12 month. Because of that, Dow Jones had to change from 12 month to become 24 month market cap. So that is the first challenge, no? Because you know that because 12 months is so volatile, if you change to 24 month, it become less volatile. Even the the Shariah screening provider find it very challenging. Then the second challenge I found when I first started is some houses actually one of my employee when I first joined, I was surprised. They use a multiple Shariah screening methodology and you have to pass all. So when you have initially you put first screening got 100, when you pass all four screening it become 25. And it become more administratively challenging to manage different Shariah advisor, some going in, some going off. Because Shariah screening in global they're changing almost every 2 weeks or every quarterly. So I actually during that year I had to revise all 11 Shariah fund, actually rewrite all the prospectus and use only one Shariah methodology. There's one occasion also when I was managing Shariah fund. No, this funny part. No, one occasion actually. So I invest in fund. Okay, I invest overseas market. So I go to broker. Then broker said I cannot buy. No, because the compliant officer say thought that I buy is non-Shariah compliant because in their list they use different methodology. In our list they use different methodology. Then I end up have to justify. Say I had to justify to my Shariah. Wasn't I need to justify to you. So there's a lot of process there. So that's why over the time we need to fine tune. Even the index pro data provider also they fine tune. As I said, Dow Jones, MSCI use total asset. You know, MSCI use total asset. When we first launched MYTHEO, you know, MYTHEO we have a partnership with Japan. Money design you met. So I discussed it. Met are confusing. See, hey, what MSCI got two screening methodology? You know, oh, which one to use? So then I said, MSCI initially used total asset because high demand because the tech start to rally. So market cap based Shariah account become more prominent. So MSCI come up with another version. I mean, they had two versions called Series M. So the differences between normal total asset screening base and market cap screening base, MSCI the only provider that offer both, give you the two options. That's why become more challenging for you to explain even internally, even to some of our client. So because there's so many variety, there's so many data provider. Actually, even Shariah standard in the market, you include Malaysia, Singapore, and Singapore don't have. Malaysia, Indonesia, even Philippines have. You always around 10 different main standard.
Okay. Well, thanks for the in-depth. I like the example as well, but there's so many different Sharia methodologies, and you make one assumption, but the client goes, "No, I don't like this one." You change everything else after that. So, Saida, to close off this topic, right? How does this change, or how does it affect the way that you present Sharia portfolios to clients?
Shariah portfolios. Okay, for Muslim it's easier to ask whether you want conventional or Sharia because they already know. Sometimes when they experience about Sharia SB is kind because of fatwa. Then actually because of Maybank product, then it's actually conventional because of fatwa. They invest in ASB, for example. Then another part to explain about the Sharia portfolios because of when we share a list of funds. For example, when there's portfolios, we share list of funds. Then easily, for example, if banking products, they have dash I. So for portfolios, Sharia, sometimes there are Islamic terms. For example, I can't say specifically, but you can easily know like about Arabic terms. So it kind of to be differentiate about conventional investing and Sharia investing as compared to the banking products. When banking products, they just knew about conventional interest, financing, profit. Because of in social media, there are so many noise that mention mention, oh, these two are similar actually. Only the terms are different. However, when we educate them about the Sharia portfolios, we also mention about the risk management, asset allocation. In terms of portfolios, you also can have exposure in terms of US that still have halal or Sharia portfolios, funds. So those are the things investors are more confident nowadays, because of last time they only knew about the local market. But now when the words are more open, like mentioned, Hong Kong, US, Nvidia, I can recall, where they are more than happy to invest open, because of what the terms nowadays that people hype most, US type of stocks, then they can invest now and include in their portfolios.
Cool. That is end of topic 2. Before we move on to our next topic, which is a very special product, so I just want to throw a curveball at you and ask, with the digital age now, and you mentioned just now the younger generation, they know what they want. But has there been a time where they tell you what they want, but in your mind you think like, no, don't do this, or you're only listening to the hype, or what's trending now on TikTok, let's say, right? Has there been moments like that when your clients come to you like, yep, this is what I want?
Yeah, it happens a lot when they just forward, okay, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? So usually I would like to have a clarity with my client. Okay, what's their understanding about? Because of so many products or whatever they read, they simply can forward. So we cannot like always be present 24 hours like ChatGPT. Then how we want to affirm their understanding is about what's their understanding, whether they are interested, whether that's applicable for their situations. So as a people in the field, we cannot ignore the current trend. For example, if they use ChatGPT to plan their travel, so similar like us, we also use ChatGPT, but for example AI, but not they control our lives, but we control them. In a way, we understand our situation first and then ask ourselves back, is it that one is applicable for me, is suitable for me? And then in the future, they know how to use AI in their lives.
Okay. I'm glad you said that, because now the topic we're going to talk about MyTheo's brand new product, MYTHEO Izdihar, right? And I think this will help with what we just talked about and the question I asked. So Amir, why don't you give us an overview about this new product and what makes it different? How would you describe this to a person like me who maybe has never heard about this thing before?
Okay, basically MYTHEO is our first product, our first Shariah product from MYTHEO lah. So you know that in Sharia, you cannot invest in the bank. If you don't invest in bank, you actually remove one big sector from your investment. But that's not downside. You have to look at the upside. I mean, the other sector will have higher allocation. For example, technology sector. So Izdihar itself, it means balloon. That's why we only focus on sector that are balloon. There are three. If you look at MYTHEO Izdihar, we have 51% exposure into direct technology stock, company like Nvidia, company like Apple, company like Microsoft. Then the remaining 15% roughly in consumer. And this also consumer company, a disruptor company like Amazon, Lyft, Uber. Another 12% is another exciting company in healthcare. This is not a normal healthcare you can see in Malaysia market. It's company that involve what you call a blockbuster drug company like Novo Nordisk and company like Eli. This kind of company that sell drug that first come into market and they sell at a very high price, $3,000 per pill. This kind of thing.
So then, from an advisor's point of view, Amir just mentioned that this portfolio, for example, has big tech exposures with major disruptors in companies, healthcare, and all this stuff. So do you think that this might be seen as too risky, and who should consider it? How would you maybe bundle this together with other investments, or yourself, in your opinion? What do you think about this?
Actually, ETF is taking place it's more appeal nowadays. When I mentioned about ETF, some of them, I already happy when you mention about ETF. Some of them, what is ETF? So especially with MYTHEO, I'm more than happy to introduce them because of the exposure to the global and also the current technology that are trending and potential in the future. As compared to the before, the portfolio only the active active funds, for example, in mutual funds. Now, nowadays, when I spoke to few fund managers, they already mentioned, we actually include ETF as part of our portfolio. Then MYTHEO is quite timely because of they can understand it better in terms of when we introduce, what types of stocks or companies in the portfolio. So those are very familiar to them, I believe. And when we introduce them as low as few hundred, they already can invest.
Don't you think that 50% technology sounds too concentrated? And as you said, if you're talking about diversification, half your portfolio is already in like tech stocks, right?
Okay, you say that 51% if 20 years ago is too concentrated. But nowadays, technology has already grown so much. Remember when I remember when I first started work industry, when we talk about technology, we talk about dominant of Windows and Intel. We're talking about Intel. That time technology must be very small, only two company that we already know. After that, technology has moved forward into smartphone. Then now all gadget has technology. Now even we move. Now almost all sectors also already have technology component. If you look at Indonesia market, the stock that perform the best in Indonesia market today, one of them is Sunway Construction. Sunway Construction. You look just 5 or 10 years ago, what is their business? They're building road, they're building. And today you look at what they win every day, data center business, all for generative AI. We mean tech stock has been growing prominent and penetrated into other sector. I think 51% is justifiable considering the current trend. This is the year 2025. It only can grow from here. And you look at the number, 51%, you look at the company that announced result, right? I don't know, you notice that last night there's a new richest man in the world. Surpassed Elon Musk.
Who's that?
Larry Ellison. Because Oracle last night, they announced result. The share price spiked by more than 30%.
Wow.
He's the largest shareholder. And what attract investor on Oracle? Because they want a data center contract from OpenAI for $400 billion US dollar. You see, there's a lot of data center business, 400 billion. This data center actually to cater the need for ChatGPT, OpenAI, Gemini, right? Now, this tool can never charge you. Most of us still using for free. Sooner or later we have to pay. So you can see that the revenue generative will come even going forward in the future. You can see some of Chinese company already give deadline. They will only give free until 31st December. You can see the sector will start generating new revenue from the one the like ChatGPT, Copilot, and we continue to see this sector to grow. I think 51% is just nice for if you're looking at the current trend.
Okay, so just to close out this topic, having a product like MYTHEO Izdihar right now, right? I understand Sharia investing, you might have more conservative clients, right? And you say, hey, the younger ones, sure, they're more than open to invest in tech. Because tech can mean so many different things now. It can be AI, it can be chips, can be healthcare, whatever it is. But for a more conservative investor, a more conservative client, how would you angle this to sort of explain to them or convince them like, hey, this is actually a good thing? Because some of them may not even understand technology or AI. So how would you do that?
First thing first, usually I just throw the questions. For example, have you seen like people use, for example, AI to navigate, for example, how to cook? My mother mentioned, okay, you don't need to know how to cook. You can ask online. No, last time, what they asked, perhaps Google. They only knew Google. But now, when we want to type, it appear or ChatGPT or it appear Gemini. Then it's simply AI. Then those are the questions that we can throw to the conservative investor. That what is your opinion about AI? Have you used it? Then what's the potential? How you use it for your students, for your daughters, for your sons? Because of me myself, my daughters mentioned my teacher don't want me to scratch anymore. Make notes like a story. My teacher asked me to use ChatGPT. So those are the school levels, like national schools. So by hook or by crook, everyone slowly adapting. And then it's become a norm. If we want to introduce, okay, you use AI, we have to adapt.
Where do you draw the line, right?
Yeah.
Right. How does that AI is so integrated in our lives? Like, when was the last time you used AI? And like maybe 10 minutes ago, I did use this something, right? So I understand. So I feel your point. Then I do agree that with AI being so prevalent in our lives, like, it's really implemented everywhere. The examples you give: Gemini, Siri, ChatGPT, DeepSeek. If you really want to get into that, right? It's so embedded in. I think that culture really has to shift that mindset for all investors, both young, old, conservative, more risky. All that it has to be considered across the board. So as we wrap up our last topic, this one I think will help clear the air a little bit and really clarify about Sharia investing beyond just religion, right? The common misconception is that Sharia investing is just for Muslims. But I want to ask why Sharia also appeals to non-Muslims as well. And do you think it's suitable for maybe someone like me? All right. So Amir, if I'm using MYTHEO Izdihar, what would you say?
Okay, when we looking to launch Shariah-Izdihar, my first concept is to launch something similar to our Omakase, right? So we have growth portfolio, we have income, and we have inflation hedge portfolio. Then we do it Sharia. Then we find it divide our investor. People that prefer commercial continue to stay with our normal Omakase. People prefer Sharia continue prefer will shift into this MYTHEO Izdihar. What we decide, we see, this Izdihar have one more trade. Essentially, basically the risk profile is higher because highly concentrated into tech sector. We can say it's much more hotter, but can provide potentially higher return. But one thing I want to highlight, right? Why you need to invest in MYTHEO Izdihar. You can see the headline 2 days ago. You read the newspaper. Microsoft actually announced another job cut. It's Microsoft just 2 days ago. This is the 5th consecutive month Microsoft cut the job. 5 months in a row. No. Then you know that Microsoft is the second company that surpassed 4 trillion market cap after Nvidia. It's a huge company. Every year announce higher profit, higher. They even announce to increase operating expenditure. Why they need to cut job? To make more money, why you need to cut job? It's simply because they already find the way to replace human capital, right? So, like it or not, everybody, regardless you Muslim or non-Muslim, as long as you work over time, you can see more job will be replaced by AI. So, for you to actually tackle the issue? This is a big concern, like you might lose your job. Tomorrow, they might not call you for podcast already. They replace all of us with avatar already, right? So the only way to do whether is to invest, to have a stake in that AI. Even you're not working, AI working for you, right? Still generating income and still give you regular income every month. So MYTHEO Izdihar is one way to do that. So because the job doesn't choose whether you Muslim, non-Muslim, either you Chinese, Malay or Indian, right? Everything can be replaced. So MYTHEO is just a perfect way to invest in the technology sector and hedge again and insure yourself against the job you might lose in the future.
So I see it's more diversification.
Yes.
Right? Something that I can use as well. Going to diversify my portfolio.
If you basically you invest in MYTHEO Izdihar, you own at least 50% stake in the future technology, the technology that will replace human, right? And because you have a stake, you continue to receive income even though you are not working anymore.
Okay. So Sada, what do you think then? Is this purely based on returns, or is it fundamentals? Is this based on preference? How do you feel?
For sure, for those who want to invest the layman terms, they want to know how much profit I can make. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, during COVID-19, the Sharia portfolios actually has no difference with the conventional parts. For example, take it a simple example like EPF announced the dividend for conventional versus Sharia. Then afterwards, what happened? People react, actually it's not huge difference. It's not huge difference. We still can be part of Sharia products or Sharia portfolios while getting the desired return. It's only the willingness to take part on the Sharia products. Then I think it's a very obvious example when EPF make it announce that people still can make money even though you invest in the Sharia products.
Okay, I think you gave a very big insight and overview there. So just to summarize, in case it wasn't clear, that Sharia is not just for Muslims, it's for non-Muslims as well. Right. Okay, cool. So that takes us to the end of today's episode. Thank both of you for sharing your insights. I think it's very insightful, sharing more about Sharia investing, especially for our users who may not be familiar with Sharia investing. And to close off, I think Sharia investing today isn't just about avoiding certain sectors. It's really about aligning with values, staying future focused, and accessing global opportunities now, right? Local and global. So whether you're Muslim or not, there's something powerful in this portfolio that is built on discipline, transparency, and innovation. So thank you guys so much for sharing your thoughts. If you found this insightful, Share it with someone who's building their investment journey. And if you're curious about MYTHEO Izdihar, drop us a comment below and let us know. See you next episode. Bye.